Hello, welcome back. So now in this part, we will solve our design problem. And this is the design problem that we have to solve. So in this, we have to design a simply supported flange beam as shown in the figure. So I will show you the figure also. And there are some data which is already given, which is say thickness of flange is 100 mm and the total depth of beam is 750. Then width of web is 350 and spacing between the beams, you can see here the center to center spacing between this is 4000 mm or 4 meter center to center, and the effective span of the beam is 12 meter. Now also the effective cover is also given here, which is 90 mm, and the effective depth is also provided here, which is 660 mm, and the imposed load or the live load is also given, which is 5 kilonewton per meter square, and the material grade is also given, which is Fe415 for steel and M24 the grade of concrete. Now here in this case, if we have two layer of the tension bar, because earlier we have seen the problem where we have provided only one layer of the tension bar. Now, for example, if we have two layer of the bar, then generally we measure effective cover from the center of their CG. So basically this bar group, the CG will be passing through this central line. So instead of measuring from the center, like we used to have in the earlier cases, this time we are going to measure effective cover from the CG of the bar group to the lowermost part. So this becomes the effective cover in this case when we have two layer or three layer. So in that case, we generally find out effective cover, which is measured from the CG of the bar group to the lower edge. So this is the data given. So now we will solve. So our first step is to find out the factored bending moment. Now in our case, our beam is a simply supported beam. So maximum bending moment for simply supported beam is W into L square by 8. Now L is the effective span, which is already given. Now here we need to find out W. W is the UDL. So to calculate this W, first of all, we have to understand how this load will be supported on the flange beam. So for example, if I now one more thing that I forgot to miss to tell you. Now in this case, you can see there are different beam group. So these different beam groups are making different flange beam. So like we can assume that this is acting as a flange beam, which is like this. So you can see all the beams are same. So therefore designing one flange beam will be enough because other beams will be identical to it. So I will be making a 3D, a three-dimensional diagram for one flange beam. So in the flange beam, it will something look like this. So on above, it is a flange. It is basically a slab. So yes, the beam will be running like this. So basically, we have to find out this W, and W is the UDL. UDL is the uniformly distributed load, and generally we express this UDL into load per meter length. Load per meter length, which means this is the effective span, and we have to find out load for only 1 meter length. So 1 meter length of beam will be this one. So this part will be under 1 meter length. So here we have this flange. So basically, first of all, we have to calculate the load intensity on this flange part. So load intensity, first we will find out what is the load per unit area. So load per unit area. Generally we calculate on per meter square. So if we can find out load on unit area, then we can multiply this unit area with the whole area covering under this 1 meter length. So in 1 meter length, we have total area of the slab, this one. So here, first we will find out what is the load intensity at unit, and then we will multiply this load intensity with the area, with the whole area covering under 1 meter length, covering under this 1 meter length. So for that, the load intensity would be first, you can see this unit area we can consider this as 1 meter by 1 meter. So the volume of this unit area will be 1 into 1 into thickness of this slab, and thickness of slab is 0.1 meter or 100 mm. So 0.1 meter multiplied by the density of the material. So as we have RCC, so the density will be 25. So with this, we can find out uh, the load intensity per unit area. So the load intensity will become 2 kilonewton per meter square. Now we can find out what is the area of this slab under 1 meter length. So as we know, this will be 1 meter. So, and what is this length? This length will be 4 meter. So ultimately the area becomes 4 multiplied by 1, 4 meter square. So the load per meter length will be 4 multiplied by 2.5, and this becomes 10 kilonewton per meter. So that is the weight of this flange part or slab per meter length of the beam. So this is how we are going to calculate the load of the flange part. So till now we have calculated load up to this only. Similarly, we can find out load of this web part also. So the web will be having this width as 350, and this dimension is already given in the previous slide, which is 650. So similarly, the self weight of this web will be 0.35 multiplied by 0.65 multiplied by 1, that becomes the volume, and multiplied by the density of RCC, which becomes 25. So now I will be showing you this. So weight of slab per meter square, this becomes the 2.5 meter square. So first we have calculated the load intensity, and then the weight of slab per meter. So this becomes 4 meter square area under 1 meter multiplied by the load intensity, that becomes 10 kilonewton per meter. Similarly, the dead load of the web part, so this becomes 0.35 into 0.65 into 1 multiplied by 25, and this becomes 5.6875 kilonewton per meter. So till now we have calculated, this was the dead load. Now imposed load or live load is also given. So that is also given there. And the intensity of the live load is already given, which is 5 kilonewton per meter square. So 5 multiplied by the area under 1 meter length. So area is 4 meter and 5 is the load intensity per unit area. So this becomes 20 kilonewton per meter. So that becomes the total load. So now the total load, which is W, it will be 20 plus 5.6875 plus 10. So that becomes 35.6875. 35.6875. So now we got the value of W, and effective span is already given in the question. So we can now calculate the bending moment, which is WL square by 8. Now I have directly multiplied this with the load factor. So in limit state, we take load factor as 1.5 for dead load and live load as well. So here we will multiply this with the load factor directly, and after multiplying this, we can get the factored bending moment directly, which is 963.5625 kilonewton meter. So that completes our step 1. So that is the bending moment coming on the beam. In the second step, we now have to calculate the MU limiting or limiting moment of resistance. So uh, this is basically the moment of resistance of a balanced section. Now, first we have to determine whether our neutral axis will be in the flange or web, and then only we can calculate the MU limiting, because that will be having different cases. So as I said here, for determining MU limiting of balanced section, first we need to know whether the critical depth of neutral axis or the axiomax, whether it lies in the flange or in the web. So if this axiomax is less than df, then we will say that our neutral axis lies in the flange, and if it is more than df, then it will be in the web. So we know axiomax is 0.48 times of d, and d is already given, which is 660. So getting this, we get the value of axiomax as 316.80, and you can see this value is greater than df. Sorry, it will be greater than df, which is 100 mm. So therefore we can say that our neutral axis lying in the web. So when you must know that there are basically 7 cases. Case 1 is when neutral axis lies in the web, and then we have 3 cases: case 2, case 3, and case 4. So in case 1, when Na lies in flange, then we consider case 1 and we apply all the formula that we use in for the rectangular beam. Now case 3 and case 3, case 2, 3 and 4, they are applicable when Na lies in web. So as now we know that for the balanced section, our Na will be lying in the web. So therefore, as it is a balanced section, so case 2 will be for the balanced section, case 3 for underreinforced section, and case 4 is for the overreinforced section. So as now it is confirmed that we will be using case 2, but we have to see whether it will belong case 2A or case 2B. Now case 2A and 2B will be dependent on the ratio, which is df by d. So we need to find out whether df by d ratio is more than 2 or less than 2, 0.2. So then only we will decide which formula is to be used to calculate the MU limiting for the balanced section. So as I said, now we have to see whether our case belongs to case 2A or 2B. So for that, we will calculate df by d ratio. So df and d is already given, which is 100 and 100 by 660. So the ratio is 0.1515, and you can see this value is less than 0.2. And also for the confirmation, we can calculate even df by xu ratio also. So if you compare, if you put xu equivalent to xu max, then this is also less than 0.43. So when in both the cases, when df by d ratio is less than 0.2 and when df by x is less than 0.43, then it is confirmed that our case belongs to case 2A. So case 2A means the whole flange in our case will be under constant stress. So the moment of resistance for case 2A will be this one. So this formula I have already explained in the lecture 4. So we will be using this formula, and here you can see we will be using the full depth of flange because the whole depth will be under constant stress. If the case would be case 2B, so in that case we would use YF in place of BF. Other formula, other parameters would be same. So Now, in the formula, you can see all the parameters except the value of BF is unknown. So BW is given, Xmax is calculated, FCK and DF, all the values are given. Only BF needs to be calculated. So we can calculate BF by using the relation L0 by 6 plus BW plus 6DF. So in case of simply supported beam, L0 is equivalent to effective span. So therefore L0 will be equals to effective span, and effective span is already given, which is 12 meter. So in the question 12 meter is already given. So 12,000 by 6 plus BW is given, which is the width of web 350 and DF is 100. So calculating this, we get the effective width of flange as 2950. So now we can put this value in place of BF. Now in the formula, now we put all the values and calculating the MU limiting. So MU limiting is 1835.43 kilonewton meter. So now you can see this MU limiting is actually higher than the MU that we have calculated in step 1, and it shows that our beam will be under reinforced. So we know that when MU is less than MU limiting, then it is under reinforced section. When it is greater than, it becomes balanced. Sorry, it becomes over reinforced. And when it is equals to MU limiting, it becomes balanced. So as in our case, the MU that we have calculated in step 1 was 963 and MU limiting is higher than that. It means our section is under reinforced. So we will be designing our section as a under reinforced section. So now moving to the step 3. So in this, we will determine the value of XU, because we want to know how much is the value this XU is. And before calculating this XU, we will be required to find out the value of AST. So here, as you can see, the value of MU is almost 50% of MU limiting. So first we will assume that the neutral axis lies in the flange. And it means that all the formulas of rectangular beam will be applicable in our case. So it means the beam can be treated as a rectangular beam of width BF, and all the formula used for rectangular beam will be applicable. So therefore, if you refer page number 96, close G, so there we can find out the formula for determining XU. So the formula I have explained in the earlier lectures also. So this is the formula that we are going to use to find out the value of XU. So here in this formula, you can see all the values except AST is known. So to calculate the value of XU, first we have to determine the AST. So as we have assumed that neutral axis lies in the flange, and also we know that our section is under reinforced. So therefore, we can use the moment of resistance formula for the under reinforced section. So this is the formula that we generally use to calculate the moment of resistance of an under reinforced section. So in this, MU is already calculated in step 1, Fy is given, D is given, all the values except AST is unknown. So now in this, we will put all the values, and now this equation will give a quadratic equation of AST, and it will give us two values. One will be the higher value and the second one will be the lower value. So generally we will accept lower value because lower value can satisfy our requirements. So therefore we accept the lower value. So this is the quadratic equation that will form after solving this equation. So solving this quadratic equation, we get the value of AST as 4234.722097. So this is the value of AST. Now we will put this value of AST in the equation of XU. So putting all the values, we get the value of XU as 71.98. And now you can see that we have assumed that neutral axis will lie in the flange, and our assumption is correct because the value of XU is less than DF, which means the area of steel we have calculated is correct. So this much area of steel is to be provided in our beam to resist the required moment of resist, required maximum bending moment. So as I said, as the value of XU is less than the thickness of flange, our assumption is correct. So here now the value of area of steel that we have calculated will be accepted because our assumption is correct. If our assumption was not correct, in that case we would have to calculate AST again by considering the case 3, either case 3A or 3B, depending on the DF by XU ratio. So in that case, we would have been doing that. So the area of steel which we have calculated is 4234. Now we have to first check whether this area of steel that is calculated, whether it is more than the minimum area of steel recommended by the IS code or less than the maximum steel recommended by the IS code. So as per IS code, minimum area of steel to be provided is equals to this one, 0.85 times of Fy by Bw into D. And this the relation is given on page 47 of IS code. So you can refer to this page to get this relation. And putting all the values here, we get the minimum area of steel as 473.13. And you can see we have provided area of steel this one. I mean, our required area of steel is this one and minimum required is this one. So our area is more than minimum required. So it means it is okay. Now we will check our area of steel for maximum requirement also. So as per IS code, maximum area of steel will be up to this value, which is 0.4%, sorry, 4% of the cross-sectional area, which is 0.04 into BW into D. So that becomes 0.0435 into 60, and that becomes the maximum area of steel which we can provide in our beam. So you can see the value calculated is more than minimum value and less than the maximum value. It means our area of steel is okay. So now we have to convert this area of steel into the number of bars. So we have to select dia of bar such that the area of, I mean their total area should be around this value 4234. It should not exceed much than this required value for the economical point of view. So here sometimes what we do is we can assume the dia of bar in combination. For example, say 5 bars of 25 and 5 bars of 20. So like this combination we can use. So first we have to see the area of 5 25 dia and area of 20 dia, whether the sum of this area is around this value. It should not exceed much from this value from the economical point of view. So here I am providing 28 dia of bar, 6 number of bars of 28 dia, which will give the total area as 3694 mm square, and 2 bars of 20 dia, which will give the total area of reinforcement as 628. So that this plus this will give us this area of reinforcement. So you can see this is not much higher than this value. So therefore, the area of steel provided in this combination is okay. So now we have provided the number of bars, so we can show that in the reinforcement sketch. So here, this is our reinforcement sketch. So like this beam, we can provide the same reinforcement in this case also and in this case also. So here, green dots are showing the dia of 20 mm bar, and blue bars are showing the 28 dia bar. So this is how we can show the reinforcement sketch. So that completes our design problem. Thank you.